السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Every phrase is very powerful in Fatiha. Every phrase, very powerful. You can use it for your daily life guidance. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين. Okay.
The third point?
Fourth.
We're reading from the reasonings, page 9, the fourth point. A judgment that is given or valid for a whole may not be valid for each of its parts. Although this is generally true fact, Prophet Muhammad, upon him be peace and blessings, is an exception to it. That is, no act or state of Prophet Muhammad contradicts his prophethood.
Yeah, this is an important point from two perspectives. One perspective is that the general statement is correct. You say that this house is comfortable, this building is comfortable, perfect, but there may be one section of it that is not working really properly. It's possible. It doesn't justify you to say that this building is really very good, perfect. Yeah. You may not be aware even that one part is not really working properly. Let's say, oh, look, we are enlightened. We are getting light from the ceiling, but you never know, one of the bulbs or fluorescent may not be working. You are still thankful that you get light. This is true. When it comes to the Prophet Muhammad's life, all prophets, but especially Prophet Muhammad's life, but all prophets really, we should not be specific about it, there is no need. If they are prophets, they are expected to be also consistent, not only as a whole, but in their particular life events as well. Now, for example, when you say something happened, then Prophet got angry, it means, what does it mean? Prophet got angry. Yeah, there are many narrations that states that. What does it mean? In that situation, a man is expected to be angry. Do you understand? Not because of the lack of consistency that he shouldn't be angry, but he is angry. But at the end of the day, he is a human being. No. That's the state requires to be angry. Prophet laughed. That is the state, or whatever is narrated, that is the state that one has to be happy and laugh. That's why he is laughing. It doesn't mean that he is perfect in his creation. Of course, he may lack something. No, it doesn't. As a prophet, the text will emphasize on the importance importance of this aspect. As a prophet, representing the message of God must be perfect. Because the message of God is perfect. Perfect message of God, by definition. Perfect message cannot be represented by anything but a person who is not perfect in his behavior. This is one side of the matter, important. The other side is when we read the hadith narrations. Hadith narrations are about what? Particular events in the life of the Prophet, right? And this particular event is narrated to us, and we may say that, you know, this event, the Prophet was, you know, one thing, one point. He may not be consistent. He's a human being. Yeah. He also fails. So this hadith may not represent the prophetic message. It's a human weakness. You cannot read the hadith, and the prophet cannot be an exemplary guide for human beings. So every event narrated in hadith narrations must represent the prophetic perfect message. We cannot say this is just this point, this one out of 1,000 is the result of out of human weakness, and he cannot be the prophet. Now we have to understand. So according to us, we may have some sort of concepts that shows human weakness, but we have to question, is it a human weakness or it is human nature or reality? That's why the prophet gets married and something happens. He is excited about it, and he gets angry, happy, whatever. Why? All of these events are perfectly appropriate to human reality, how we are created. That's the second. The third, when you read the hadith, we have to read the hadith narrations, any narrations, from the perspective of the prophetic message, not from the perspective of his being a meek, weak human being. I mean, fallible human being. No. His being a fallible human being is concerned with his createdness, his employment. He is not the source of the message he is delivering to people. Yes, he is an abd. That's why we keep saying that. وَيَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. It's important. What does it mean? He is not the source of the message he is conveying. Yeah, he is a created being. He doesn't have any divine quality. That's why Ubudiyya goes this way. Not sometimes he's an abd, he's a created being, so he may fall sometime. Muslim scholars emphasize on the importance of the innocence. There's a word for it, ma'soom.
Right.
Another word for it.
Naive.
Sorry, no, not naive. No. Innocence may be innocence of the prophets. The previous narration, especially Torah narration.
Are you talking about infallibility?
Sorry?
The infallibility?
Infallibility in as far as the prophethood is concerned.
Right.
But we are concerned with any prophet from their prophetic side. I'm not concerned about his height, or I don't know whether he had a defect in his arm or something.
Right.
No, I'm not concerned about it. He's a created being, and all the message he carries or conveys to us is not originated from him. That's very important. So the Torah narration always attributes some sort of defects to prophets. So it is why? Because of the narration must be distorted. Oh, that's one reason. Another reason, for example, being angry is a simple example, understandable. We may think that one shouldn't be angry. Yeah. That's what we think. So if the narration says the prophet was angry, any prophet, not only the prophet Muhammad, they attributed as a fallible side of it. They attributed. So they interpret very strange narrations about the previous prophets. Very strange, unimaginable. A prophet wanted the wife of a general and then plotted a war, sent the general there and had it killed and got the wife for himself, his wife for himself. This is very Torah narration.
Dawood, right? Prophet?
Doesn't matter, I don't mention name. Yeah, doesn't matter, a prophet. Yeah, no, not sorry, but we are learning. Doesn't matter whether Dawood or Solomon, doesn't matter. And because these are what we are, well, I'm not accusing you, no. Whether you know the name was Dawood or Solomon, do you know them? What does it matter? Why do you bother about names? Not only you, me too, all of us. Why should we bother about this? Knowledge is nothing. Doesn't bring you any benefit. People, this one, that. So what? A person who's regarded in the narration of in Torah narration as prophet, did this trick in order to get the wife of the general. You see what I mean? It is not human nature. It is not really appropriate. If a person does this, he's not a prophet. Why do you mention about it? Because in particulars, also, the prophets should be consistent by definition. It doesn't mean that, as most of the scholarships say, this is an insult on somebody. I say, if this is true, he's not a prophet. Why bother? Why bother? Whether it is narrated as the prophet or not. No, he cannot be prophet because in particular, he is not consistent. Whoever this figure is, doesn't matter. Applied to the Prophet Muhammad, there are three perspectives to understand this passage. One is, really, it is necessary for the messengership to be consistent even in particulars. The second is, hadith narrations are about particulars, and we have to take the hadith narrations as the one event is narrated about the fabricated hadith or distorted hadith narrations or not really very well transformed hadith. This is the weakness of human beings. But by definition, hadith narrations must be taken. This is the prophetic message. But someone may narrate the hadith for maybe not really guessing. This happened, you know. Hadith bil mana, they say, is acceptable. And also, some people thought if the Prophet was here, he would definitely, they made a lot of things about this. Definitely, let's say there is a dispute, definitely the Prophet, according to me, definitely the Prophet would follow this way. So, and they narrated, it's a very typical example which is recorded. A person kept narrating about the values, how value the certain chapters of the Quran are, how valuable they are. And another person said, are you really sure that all these things are told by the Prophet? What's your really evidence? He said, I see that people are neglecting the Quran. I'm trying to encourage them. It's a very typical example, very typical example. With a good intention, because saying that the Prophet would definitely love people to read Yasin. This is what happened. So he would definitely encourage people. So let me say that the Prophet said that if you read Yasin, something happens. You will be rewarded in such a way. Now, from there, we understand that we have to take always into consideration, never forget the weakness of the narrator. But by definition, in particular events, the prophets must be consistent. Shouldn't do anything wrong. Never. Sometimes they say, you know, after all, he was a human being as well. No. It is a human weakness, and they cannot represent prophethood. That is this second point. If we hear something from the narrations that seems to be not really correct or something, or because the Prophet wasn't in his good mood, that's what he did this. Now, by definition, is wrong. Shouldn't be. So if you see something in narrations like this, you just disregard it. Because it goes against the principle. Disregard it. But we have to pay attention that our expectations may not be appropriate. We have to question this one as well. According to me, one shouldn't really laugh, for example. But narration says Prophet laughed. It is some sort of human weakness. Okay, it is okay, after all, he was a human being as well. Understand? No, it is a wrong understand. The third aspect of the importance of this passage is, the short passage, when we are reading the hadith, we have to follow the principles that we have been talking about. Accordingly, read the hadith. If you don't take these points into account, you cannot benefit from the hadith narrations. Okay. That is the summary of what.
So you're saying ignore the human weakness side of any narration. There may be, but in principle, just that's
If you
not my
see that,
concern.
if you see that, yeah,
That's
there
not
is
my
an-
concern.
there is a sign. There is a sign in the narration. It indicates that, oh, this is human weakness.
Mhm.
Then there are two reasons. There may be two reasons. One is the narration is not really correct because the person who observed it and narrated it observed the case and narrated according to his capacity, his expectations. Or another possibility is my decision about this, my understanding about the event may not be appropriate. Check it. I mean, there is no ultimate truth. But check it. Is it my consideration, my understanding that it shouldn't be in this way? Or is it really true? But check it, check. I mean, by checking it, you just what you do. By checking it, what you do, you take into the possibility that you may be wrong into account and go over it, revise it. Don't be sure that according to me it is wrong. So hadith says this, narrates this. So this hadith is fabricated, or the prophet, because of the weakness of the prophet. Don't make a judgment without considering it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And second point was, you said that they were, so the messengers were consistent in particular, so consistent with their human nature. So whatever they're reflecting is, they're inconsistent with their human nature, or they're inconsistent with the message they're delivering? I
But
don't
the human, how can you separate human nature from the message? The message is the real representation of human nature.
Okay.
So human weakness is different from human nature.
Okay.
But we said in the discussion, I think we shouldn't hurry. We should make the case really, really understood and digested. What is human nature?
Human nature versus human weakness. So you said that,
Yeah.
when we mentioned, hey, he was a human being like us, so obviously all human beings are fallible individuals. So we definitely, we need to ignore that
Right.
side, the human weakness side, because we're not
No.
concerned with that.
Why do we emphasize on the importance of now? And I remember. Why do we emphasize on the prophets being up to who? What?
Worshippers.
Sorry?
Worshippers.
He's not the source of the message
Yeah.
he's conveying.
He is not the source of the message. He is a created being. He is not really reflecting what he, reflecting to us what he thought is the message. But of course, this is not that easy. For example, there's a famous attitude of the prophet saying that, look, you come to me and bring a case. Two people are disputing. And I listen to you, both of you, and make a judgment as the community leader, because he was the community leader of Medina administration. So I pass a judgment according to the way you present the case. When I say you are right, you are wrong, yeah, one is right, the other one is wrong. This person whom I said he is right does not necessarily mean right, because I judge according to what you present to me. Oh, where is the prophetic message there? He was a prophet, because some people say, okay, I presented my case in debate, and the prophet said I am right, so in reality I am right. No. Not in, so the prophet was a human being, he doesn't know. That doesn't apply. We have to be very careful. Very careful. These are fine points. Prophetic message is conveying to us that if a judgment is passed, it is passed according to the evidence presented. Right? It doesn't mean that you are conveying the divine knowledge. That is prophetic mission. That is prophetic mission. If someone, for example, you go to the Muslim Qadi, let's say, court, and the court decides that you are right. Don't take it that you are really right. Even the prophet said you are right. It doesn't mean that you are right. But what is right there? According to these evidence, to say that this person is right. Do you understand? Do you understand this? Really? No. For example, if you present this evidence to me, and according to the evidence, not in reality who you are, what you did. According to the evidence, I say this is right. Right? I can give you an example to make it clear. When this action is right, this decision is right. For example, who cheats in that exam? You are always the bad guy. You cheat. You do. Okay, let's go to this guy. Okay. This person, Sultan, get the right answer, right? And you copy it from him. And you presented, both of you, the same paper. The teacher said 100 out of 100. You also get 100 out of 100. Right? Now, it doesn't, this teacher is a prophet now. Prophet said, I deserve 100 out of 100. That must be divine, huh? What do you say? Look at the example, it's very clear. According to the paper, you presented to the prophet, and the prophet judged on it that this paper deserves to get 100, is correct. Understand? Not that you are an honest man. You deserve 100. That's why the prophet said, when I pass a judgment about somebody is being right, another person is being wrong, don't go home and say that prophet told me that I am wrong. No, my evidence shows me that I am wrong. In reality, what I am, I don't know. That is the prophetic message. That is the prophetic mission. But something. Yeah. That is the prophetic message. It means practically the judge will pass according to the evidence, not according to the one's reality. That is prophetic exemplary life. We have to understand this. Not because prophet passed the judgment In reality, it's the divine, it is the result of a divine inspiration. That is the principle as an example, as a prophet, as an exemplary life, showing us how we should behave, but at the same time, in this world, any judgment against you or for you does not represent your reality. Did you get it? So people struggled about understanding this hadith. And I remember reading lots of arguments about it. Yeah.
Dr. Ali. Okay. The prophet passing judgment or being the judge.
Being the judge, not passing judgment, really.
Being the
Functioning
judge.
as an official judge.
Yeah, so he's acting like anyone we would, based on evidence, you kind of.
But a prophet.
That part I don't get it, because by definition, the prophet is supposed to convey
the message.
The divine message, right?
Divine message says, go back to the example, this guy cheated.
Mm-hmm.
Divine message says, as a human being, you should never pass judgment about this man's heart. You have to judge about the paper he presents to you. That's divine guidance.
Why do you need the prophet then?
Sorry?
Why do you need the prophet then? Because
to give this example to you. For example, I am a fallible man, now be careful about the human weakness and human nature, the difference. I'm a fallible man, yeah? For example, I may have a bad idea about this guy. Mm-hmm. Right. He gives me the paper, mm-hmm. and in the paper, everything is correct. Mm-hmm. I say, no, I'm not expecting this man to write this paper. He may be cheated. He must have cheated. Mm-hmm. Look, I'm judging. According to what? My understanding.
I see what's going on here.
So the prophet gives the exemplary life, mm-hmm. which matches human. Say it.
Nature.
Human nature, not fallibility. Human nature. As a human being, how we should act. Okay. As a human being, how we should act. Mm-hmm. Shows that. That is right. Mm-hmm. Let's say, what am I? I am a teacher, okay. and I have two papers, mm-hmm. and let's say the ceremonic description, figurative ceremonic description of Judgment Day. God tells me that you passed the wrong judgment by giving 100 to this guy as well because he cheated. Mm-hmm. My defense will be, I learned from your prophet that I'm not responsible to read people's heart. That's your message. So there is nothing wrong with it. Do you see what I mean? This is then, of course, allegoric way of speaking. That is not, I did right.
What about the other person? So what's the point of being the prophet if you're not helping?
So there's a problem.
What's the point of being the prophet if you're not helping the other person?
Which person?
The one who cheated and has presented you.
No, but this is the case. How are you going to pass judgment? How are you going to do it?
If you do suspect, oh, this guy cheated, it's not helping his humanity, then help him out.
Apart from this, prophets are expected to teach us that we shouldn't tell a lie. We will come there. No, that is another thing. But he told a lie, but he didn't show any sign for it. I cannot pass judgment on his reality as a prophet. I shouldn't. But I should tell people or educate people that they should not mm-hmm. cheat because it is against human. It is against human
nature.
Mm-hmm. That's how we are created. Now, the prophetic message is there, but this is a practical example.
I'm trying to understand also, like, you're in a school, you're in a class, and you have a teacher, so you expect the teacher to help you
Yeah.
progress, right? But obviously, as students, there's a lot you do, and you kind of present your work. I'm thinking about the divine side of things now. This is not helping the student develop
Which is
and
not
grow.
helping. What is not helping?
The one who cheated and is presenting his work. There must be some kind of
No,
interference.
do you think the teacher is encouraging them to cheat at
No,
the exam?
definitely the teacher is not.
Yeah,
But what about
what
the
is it the point then? The teacher has to say, don't cheat. If you cheat, ultimately, if you cheat at the exam, ultimately you cheat yourself. That's it. That's the message.
I'm looking for divine interference through the
Here
prophet.
is the divine
Through the
interference.
prophet.
Here is what?
Divine interference through the prophet. Because he's the one.
Divine interference or inspiration to the prophet demonstrate people according to what they present to you, that they should pass judgment, not according to guesswork. That this man is not a good man. He gave me today a paper. He never gave me this paper. Perfect. It means he cheated. Look, it's a judgment. I have no evidence.
Personal judgment.
I have no evidence. It means pass judgment according to external evidence, not your guesswork.
I understand.
That is prophetic message.
But still, the whole scenario, I don't know, I feel it defeats the purpose of being the prophet.
This is the prophet teaching you that we have to pass judgment according to evidence.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that the prophetic message only this. This is one practical example. On the other side, we always, several times, at least twice I mentioned, prophet teaches that we should not tell a lie. We should not cheat. And why is it wrong? Why it is wrong? Explains it. But when it comes to passing judgment about between human beings, that is the prophetic message that we have to judge according to
What we
evidence. That's why it was very famous among companions, the friends of the prophet. The very famous statement, everybody knows it. I mean, you might have heard, you may not heard, but if you don't know Arabic, you may know. نحن نحكم بالظاهر. That's very famous principle. We give judgment according to zahir. It means what appears to be materially in front of me. It means in our language now, according to evidence that we have. Otherwise, we cannot say that, no, this guy sits here in an innocent way, but he's a spy, maybe. There's no evidence. So have a good intention about people in general, unless you see a material, physical evidence. That's prophetic message. And it helped a lot. Because this principle prevented the sincere people from passing judgment without having an evidence about people, on people. Material evidence. That is the prophetic teaching. And it cost Muslim community a lot. Lots of dispute, lots of conflict, lots of fight. This guy is not sincere. The other way is sincere. How do you know sincerity? How do you know I am sincere or not? Unless you see physical evidence. Otherwise, you cannot say I am not sincere or I am sincere. But Husn Zan, which is called having a good intention about people, you can think that I am sincere. You are free. Unless otherwise, you see an evidence, oh, he's not sincere. Physical evidence. Otherwise, you keep having this positive understanding, positive perception of the person. Now, no one is a spy here, even that spy I don't mind. Let the spies come. They may learn something. So, no one is a spy here, right? Or came here with a bad intention. That's my attitude. That's what the Prophet had or taught us. You have to have positive attitude about positive understanding, perception of everyone, unless otherwise you see an evidence. Physical evidence. Now, I say no one came here to kill me, yeah? But who's the bad guy? You are the bad guy. Yeah, okay. He did this, take the gun, point it at me. I have a good thought about it. Evidence, physical evidence appeared. I have to defend myself, run away or do something. That is what the Prophet teaches us. Okay. I think it is clear. Yeah.
Doctor, I'm struggling with the fourth point because in the Quran there's 2 occasions where the Prophet was corrected. Once for not saying inshallah if God wills, and on another occasion for frowning. So
No.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
So
Translator, I need translator.
no, just stop me if I make a mistake. She's saying that there were 2 instances in the Quran which referred to correcting the Prophet. One where he was told to say inshallah, and the second one was for frowning.
So
For frowning, like kind of expressing sadness.
No, say it again, the word.
Frowning?
Frowning, yes. You have to frown. And the first one was?
Saying inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah, yeah. That's what we are being taught. If you say that I'm coming, don't worry, I'm coming, don't worry. What you have to do, the prophetic message he received from God says, hey, say inshallah means be conscious that if God wills it to create.
For not saying it.
Sorry?
Yeah, so I guess, what's the question though?
aren't these examples of inconsistencies?
No. That is how we are taught. Do you always keep the awareness, consciousness that anything to do with the future, you keep in your mind only if God wills it to happen. So it is a teaching that we forget, we don't keep in our mind, we don't remember, or this understanding, this consciousness. And as soon as you realize that you have done something wrong, turn back and say, if God wills. It means understand that, no, I cannot guarantee anything for future. Be human nature. That's human nature. And of course, we are trained according to our nature. Yeah, in order not to fall into our fallible side. Now, so when you do something, a mistake, turn back. So be careful. This is an important concept. Before the class, we touched upon it a little bit. Turning back. If someone realizes what he did was wrong before, yeah, or always refer to previous or the past. As soon as you realize that it was wrong, then You are right. You are right. Not in the past you are right. What you are expected to do is when you realize that you did something wrong, now you are expected to
Do what's right.
admit it, and this will be right. So you are on the right track now. Don't worry about the past mistake anymore. You are on the right track now. You take a wrong exit, you realize that you are on the wrong way. You go back is right. Yeah, what you are doing is right now. Why do you bother? I made a mistake. I took a wrong exit. I mean, wrong exit is the most innocent sin that we do. Don't refer to the past anymore. You accepted it, and you are on the right road now. Why bother?
But in this case, like God is correcting the human guide, but normally the guide corrects the human guide or the prophet corrects our errors.
Our?
This is why
No, our what?
Our
Errors.
errors.
Errors, yeah.
So if there's a narration of a contemporary of the prophet making an error and he corrects them, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But the divine correcting the guide himself,
Yeah.
then this point isn't completely true, right? It's
No,
an
it is
example
yeah.
of human weakness, and you said we shouldn't look at it that way.
Yeah.
In other words, it seems like the response was not appropriate. He should have said inshallah, and he should not have found. I'm not.
No. It is human. It is in human nature that if you don't, for example, it is called. I mean, the prophet frowned at somebody who came, etc. Yeah, to him. You know this very famous story. Why do you frown? It is a teaching. We take it literally, and say that prophet made a mistake. No. If you go and check people, most of them, ourselves as well, if we think that we are engaged with somebody is very important, we tend to neglect the not very important, according to our eyes, not very important people, neglect them. And God is teaching me through this example that be careful, this attitude is wrong. This is the exemplary life presented, exemplary principle presented in the life of the prophet. That's what we are learning. It doesn't mean that if the prophet always made perfect action, how can I learn how to correct my imperfect actions? It means going through these stages, he's presenting us how to realize our nature. So these are the events. But when you say prophet never makes mistakes, no, it is the prophetic mission to show that when you made this, you have to correct in this way. It's a prophetic mission because the prophets are guide for us. And we make a lot of mistakes that we should do. For example, why do you think the prophet was defeated in one of the wars? Yeah. Why? Prophet was defeated. And with the same understanding, people say, during this war, although he seemed to be defeated, but at the end he was victorious. Because they don't want to attribute anything. No, the prophetic mission is to teach me, as my nature requires it to be taught. Yeah, I will be defeated. It is quite normal. It is quite human nature. I will be victorious. It is quite human nature. And I have to learn this from the exemplary life of the prophet. So as a prophet, he must be defeated at least once. Otherwise, he wouldn't represent my reality and teach me what to do when I am defeated. I wouldn't learn from him what to do when I am defeated.
So these
Follow-up question or another one?
follow-up.
Okay.
So these two examples, or even the example you gave, the defeat in battle, these are examples not of human weakness, but of human reality making an error.
Yeah.
Human weakness is part of reality, right?
Yeah. But human weakness is a part of reality, but he doesn't represent a life principle as a result of his human weakness. The problem comes from here. Reading the Quran within its historical context and confining it to that historical event. But read the Quran as a universal message that what we learn now, prophet frowned at somebody, the whole story we are learning. And God said, don't frown at somebody because of his low status in the society, I'm told. But if you take this narration to its historical context, you think it is a mistake that prophet fell, right? But he has to present every case that we human beings go through as a prophet and teach me what to do. I feel in this way. Yeah, I feel in this way. For example, while we are having this discussion, the mayor of New York came and said that, look, guys, a dream, not a dream. Look, guys, I heard that you are talking about truth. I learned that. I came here to listen to you. What happens? Mayor is here. Look, Mayor appreciated our God. You see what I mean? That's human. That's human. That attributing some value to the status. But we have to be extremely careful whether he's a mayor or he is a janitor working here. Would not make any difference for me. I learned from this narration. Who is sincere? Who is really seeking the truth? For example, in this event, I never thought of what you said, but people want to justify it. I don't think that's take it seriously. I say, I took this out of this event, narrated in the Quran. I said to myself, Ali, you can share the truth only for those who seek. Just happened to be here somebody. That's why they offered us to be here, or where the iftar is going to happen, they said it's a good opportunity. Lots of people will come for iftar and accidentally happen to be in your class as well. So they may get the benefit from it. As long as they don't seek, they don't get any benefit. I took it from this event that you narrated from the Quran. We learned it. But we may tend to the importance of the majority. That's right. Or whoever the person is, look at, as far as you can see, whether he or she is seeking the truth and sharing it with you or not. Nothing to do with other qualities. Everybody takes it according to his or her capacity. Now, her capacity, his capacity is not my problem. It's not my business. Is he looking for the truth sincerely? And if you think that you are conveying the truth, you have to share with this person. But the other one is, let's say the very famous man, if he accepts Islam, everybody will follow him and take notice of it. Oh, it's a great benefit. This is just not right, according to this teaching that we learn from the Quran narrating this event. But if you read this word, I repeat, it's just a repetition, but we do that. Most of the people did, actually, and have been doing. As an historical event, you are right. As a guide for human nature, we are right. You finish?
You said that the Prophet does not represent life principle as a result of human weakness. So he's
as a result of his human weakness.
Rather, he represents life principle as a result of divine inspiration.
Human nature.
Which is
human nature, how human nature needs to be trained.
Okay, thank you. And another question going back to, sorry about this.
Why?
The Prophet passing judgment.
Why? Sorry, because my feet felt something when the blood. That's why I said this, not to your question. No, it is a frowning. It is a head row frowning. You are seeking the truth. Why should I frown at you? That's what we learned. Okay.
So two people come in, present their cases, like let's say it's a dispute. And based on evidence, the Prophet would pass judgment. Okay, so you're right. I'm just making this up and you're wrong. Based on the evidence. Let's say the one who's wrong, I mean, it's like, oh man, the Prophet said I'm wrong. I mean, this can really cause damage to the person because of the Prophet. It's like, hey, I'm
no, we have to understand that prophetic mission does not concern about passing judgment about your reality. Prophetic mission is teaching me how to act according to the evidence only. And there is an obvious saying, I think I recently narrated this, and the Prophet said, I am not here to pass judgment about people's heart. It's a very clear evidence hadith narrated. I am not here to pass about people's heart. I am not here to claim that I know unknown, ghaib. Now, if the Prophet acts according to his in his daily life, knowing the ghaib, it cannot be a prophet because he is not being a guide for me. I never know ghaib, and he knows ghaib, and he cannot be my example. It's not a prophet. Do you understand? It can be prophet, cannot be prophet. Only he says what? I only know about ghaib when I am taught by the ghaib. It means, you understand the word, by God. So I reveal it to you because God thought, if you like, thought it appropriate to reveal this ghaib to human beings. They can manage with it within their own human capacity, human nature. Got it? For example, resurrection is ghaib. But this ghaib news came to us. We can manage with it. We can have the evidence for it. And we can confirm it. That's why this ghaib is revealed to us. We can manage with it. That's within our capacity. So the prophet was taught about ghaib, and he really conveyed the ghaib, revealed the ghaib to us, because our human nature can manage with it. For example, our human nature cannot manage to know people's heart. And the prophet now presented any example of it.
He made it clear to everybody. So whoever would come to him and present a case, they knew that.
Pass according to the evidence. Pass judgment according to evidence.
Okay.
So you cannot pass a judgment according to one's heart.
Interesting point.
Yeah, this is a very beneficial, practical guide for me.
So essentially, I cannot even pass a true judgment even about myself.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
That only exists with.
Even I would add this: you can pass a judgment about me. This judgment will most probably be more correct and judging about yourself.
Wow.
We human beings are very much inclined to lie about ourselves. With the misconception of ourselves. That's why people are very comfortable. If you look at the world, they feel very comfortable. Why? They all say that in one or another type of excuse, I'm right. Yeah? The best example is go to the bar and speak to people there. Half drink, half sober, half intoxicated. Speak to them. Why do you keep harming yourself? Man, do you know? Do you know the hardship? I spoke to one of them. He said, the job I am doing is so stressful. So as soon as I get out of job, I go to the bar and forget about my stress. Justification. And he doesn't say, I'm a bad guy. I'm just killing my very valuable human
Faculties.
capacity, thinking, being aware of what I am, who I am, killing it. No, he says, as soon as he said, the job I'm doing is very stressful, just after the job, as soon as he gets out of the job, goes to the bar and drinks. That's the guy I know. Physically I know. He comes. He is drunk after the job. No, not the drunk, but drunk. You see what I mean? It's that he's somehow intoxicated. He said the job is very stressful. He didn't say that, oh no, you are right, I'm doing something wrong. Everybody justifies. So as a comment, even, you said even, as I remember, I cannot be really the right judge about myself. No. Even worse about ourselves. Never trust yourself. But You can pass a judgment in your mind, which is something inevitable, but it is not valid. Yeah, it passes from your mind, but it is not valid. It is an inspiration, or not, whispering. So it is not valid, reject it. About me, you may be more right than passing a judgment about yourself. And so never trust a judgment about yourself by yourself. Ask other people. No, it doesn't work.
I'm not sure if I agree, because if at all, you only know yourself, like you're the only person that knows yourself completely other than your source. And yes, I think
Other than your source? God.
other than God, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the point that I'm trying to emphasize on is that yes, you can always justify things, but justification is different from reality. Like I can come up with many reasons as to why I had to do something,
Yeah.
but I can also come up with reasons why I didn't have to do it. Like
No.
that's justification. Reality is what happened, and what could have happened, possibilities and everything.
God, also, there are verses referring to this. These verses remind us, teach us that ultimately, if I really think sincerely, as consistent within myself, I will realize that, go back to this drunken man's example. It is just an excuse I'm making up, but I have to work on it. If I don't work on it, if I don't intend to really see what is in me, why I am doing certain things or having certain attitude towards life, I would just be carried away with it. That is the teaching of the Quran. Says, look, to me, as I am the reader of the Quran, Ali, you may come up with a lot of excuses to justify yourself, but be careful. If you think and reflect on it, you will know what your reality is in that particular case. But usually we cover up. That is why the general public, you see that the people, for example, in the street, at work, etc., everybody seems to be comfortable, and no one is very much troubled, with few exception, troubled with their life. I'm going to work. That's why I have to. I'm not going to work today because I'm feeling something. Why? What? Excuses. No one sits and says, what I'm doing in this, is it really what is expected of me? No. These verses teach me I have to go back and make an introspective analysis of myself. It is go back and think about your reality. You will catch yourself in some cases. But generally speaking, we always lie to ourselves, about ourselves. That is the human nature, tendency of the human nature. Try to justify it. Quran says, go back to the source of justification, whether it is a justifiable justification or unjustifiable justification. Go back. It is an advice. Otherwise, we keep from people the verse which says it clearly in the Quran. Clearly means the language is plain language. By using it, they know. They say, I heard. or read also, people saying, ultimately everybody knows who he is, etc., with one condition. Yeah, question. And you cannot know ghaib. Still, I don't know your heart, and also my heart. My heart is ghaib to me as well. So, but I can guess. I can say, oh, it was obvious cases, but deep down, no one can be sure that I will be a candidate for paradise. Why? That's the same reason. You cannot know your ghaib as well.
Until what's taught to you about it.
Sorry?
Until or unless it's taught to you or revealed to you. Like, I can only know my heart as much as it's being taught to me.
By whom?
By my God, by my Creator.
By your Creator?
Right.
Now your Creator teaches you, but teaches you that in the case of the Prophet, we are mentioning different matters today. Teaches that I have forgiven your sins. A famous verse in the Quran. Yeah, past and future sins are forgiven. It means don't worry about it. And the people said, you are done under the guarantee of God. Why are you keep some sort of forcing yourself to be a perfect as much as possible worshipper of God? The famous is why do you cry? Why do you at night and pray so long and exhort yourself for perfection? Did the Prophet take it for granted that I'm safe anyway? Why I'm good? Take care of yourself. No. Still, that is divine revelation. So that I know that you are forgiven because the divine is what? Beyond time and space. Yeah. So if the Prophet in this example, in the Quranic example, if the Prophet was not going to continue his worshipful attitude, definitely God would know it and wouldn't say it. Again, even God tells you that you are saved, as far as you are concerned, you have to take care of your responsibility of worship. That's what we learn from this verse. It's interesting. Not necessarily, otherwise, the people around, even the prophet's wife said, God has forgiven your sins. Why do you exhort yourself that much? That was the hadith narration. He says, shall I not be a grateful worshiper of God? Because he saved me? Do you think I was worshiping God in order to be saved, or I was worshiping God because it is my reality? To practice it, nothing to do with saving or not. That's why, especially the Sufi tradition is very clear about it. We don't do anything in order to gain paradise. Yep. And many scholars emphasized on the importance of this attitude, saying that don't be a businessman in your transaction with God. If it is true, you have to do it, according to your understanding, of course. If it is wrong, you have to avoid it, according to your understanding.
Doctorally, okay. Doesn't one source of existence know them better than one knows themselves?
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
right.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay, because I don't know my future. You know.
Mhm.
But he, by definition, he should know,
Mhm.
because his knowledge is not restricted through time. He's the creator of time, if you like, creator of creation.
Mhm.
So now and then, the creation is equal to the absolute one. So he speaks from his perspective, knowing that the prophet is not going to stop worshiping God because I'm saved now, my father. Yeah, take it relax, take it easy. Guaranteed. God told me. Then God wouldn't tell him if he was going to do that. Yeah. Ultimately, these kind of verses tell us that God knows the past and the present and the future at the same time, but mind your business. Mind your business now. What am I supposed to do now?
And that's why we said that. I mean, I have to struggle to get to know myself. Like, that's what we were
Why
talking
do you
about.
bother about get to know yourself? The problem is there. Do your business right now.
Okay.
No, but get to know yourself. What are you going to do? You are an accountant or what? What are you going to do with knowing yourself? Concentrate on what are you doing now? What are you doing now? Whether you are a good person or bad person, what are you going to do with it? If you try to get to know yourself, what happens? You definitely, I definitely find out lots of faults in my life, and it is a disappointing thing to me and puts me off, right? Or makes me an arrogant saying that I'm going to clear myself all the faults and claim to be the perfect man. In both cases, I'm wrong. What's expected? Don't bother about your reality. Don't bother about yourself. Concentrate on your duty from now onwards. What am I supposed to do? So far, I did all things, and I am a bad man. Yeah. What are you going to do now? You are a bad man or you are a good man. What are you going to do? That's what the prophetic example teaches us. He was worshiping God until he was taught that he is cleared of all sins. Okay? Still continued his way of life in the same way. It means don't bother about your past and future. Concentrate on now. What are you going to do now? What you are expected to do now. I think it is a beautiful topic that we are going around, very practical. Of course, what we are learning here, how to read the Quran. When you read the Quran, literally, when you read the Quran, is you hear from narrations, from what the people say in general, you will be misled. You have to have the criterion, try to get the criterion. I understand. I understand. Don't worry. Yeah. This paragraph was to be very simple, but my notes say it's not simple. It has many implications that took our time today. Let's stop here and don't be under tension that we have to study one paragraph more and just press on it and skip the details. But if you have any concerns about what we have discussed today. We have discussed many things today, actually. And I'm very pleased that it became clearer to myself as well what we are expected to do in this world. If someone seeks knowledge, this class is not for this person.
If they seek knowledge,
Yeah. The knowledge means information, getting information. What verse said what? Don't misunderstand. Yeah. Which prophet was it? Don't misunderstand.
I was excited because I was reading.
No,
I
no,
was,
of course, but
watching movies and
again, it was a good thing that you said it, and the result was we should never pay attention to the names of the person narrated in the Quran. It was Moses, or it was David, or it was Solomon, it was Adam. None of your business. Yeah, the Quran is universal, but the Quran speaks in a figurative way because the people understand only when it is presented to them in a concrete. It's easy to remember. At the beginning of the class, or before the class, we said something, I don't know, but let's say it. Quran, if you are careful, seems to be, but I don't believe it is the case, never speaks in abstract sense, because human beings cannot comprehend abstract things. We are not endowed with the capacity to comprehend abstract things. That's why Quran speaks with concrete examples. It says, there was a man who was called, let's say, Noah, who did this, his people did this. This real, not abstract, a real narration of the real event. We never question this. Did this event happen or not? None of my business. Take the universal message out of it. By definition, Quran is to be read in order to get the universal message from it, not to get the information. What happened to Noah? How many years he lived? To the Quran plays it. He conveyed message for 1,000 years, minus 50. I was amazed this expression. Why don't you say 950? Nothing to do with the number. He did 95% of his job perfectly, but people didn't really get it. That's what I understand. People didn't do it. So didn't get it, didn't benefit from it. That's the mistake of the people. Watch out. It means watch out. Now we are not in the story of Noah. We are in the story of Quran, Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. So try to get most of it, benefit from it as much as you can. You may not be able to grasp all the message that Muhammad transferred to you. That's okay. There may be some 50 years missing. That's what I understood from this Quranic, very literally, Quran says this. About the number of the people of the cave. Some says 4, some says 5, some says 6, whatever. Why do you bother about the number? God knows it when you are not expected to know it anyway. Okay, they were 6 people, so what? 5 people, so what? Get the message. Don't concentrate on, how do you say, the date, the number, and these are not important. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that based off of all the points that we discussed today, it seems like I guess the prophet's life was kind of like there was an example that was made out of his life rather than him knowing that he's a prophet and that he has to be the example. Because the more I reflect on that particular,
Well, I didn't get to the second part.
so I'll just repeat. So it
Yeah.
seems like there was an example that was made out of his life
Yes.
rather than him being told that he is the example. I guess
Why do you say that?
because, for example,
I have to think about this.
how maybe I'm not putting it in the right words, but how I understand it is that even in him, let's say, making a mistake in air quotes, he's kind of pointing, or I guess helping us realize that he himself is in need of guidance.
Yeah.
And that kind of affirms the point that you made earlier that he is not source of the message.
Yeah.
Which
that's
basically
what-
makes
yeah.
him the message.
Yeah.
You know,
So he is made, if you like, as a representative of the message in both cases, which represent human nature.
yeah, that's what I meant by that. There's
Yeah.
an example that's made out of him, not necessarily that
Uh,
he is making the example.
From himself.
Yeah.
He's
No.
not the source of,
Yeah.
Sorry?
because he's not the source of the.
He is not the source. That's what when we say we may realize, we may not realize that it is not easy to say Muhammadun Abduhu, because we don't know what it means. Usually ask people. I mean, don't ask, but you can see whether Abduhu.
I have
But what we this I mean, somehow not the only way of understanding, but it became somehow clear in my mind that when I say وَيَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ, I should have something in my mind, and that Abduhu means, as far as I'm concerned, he is not the source of the message. These are men anyway, you know, that's no question. So they, but practically speaking, they put this phrase as a defense against Christian theory of divine or a divinity of Jesus. Includes, why not? I mean, they are all welcome. All the ideas are welcome. But it's okay, Christians are wrong. What am I going to understand from Abduhu then? As far as because I am concerned with the prophet, what as far as his message is concerned. Isn't that true? Message, because I'm interested in Muhammad, not because of something else, but his message. His message appeals to me and educates me, trains me, and helps me. That's why I'm interested in him. Otherwise, what should I do with him? Okay. I think we should stop. Oh, we should stop. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Do you want to make the reminder?
Sorry?
On
Oh
Wednesday?
yes.
Reminder.
Reminder. What was the first one?
6:30.
Next week, we will have this class starting at 6:30. And we don't know exactly where we are going to have it, this class.
What? Not this class.
Saturday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday class.
Oh, yeah. Wednesday class. See? Human fallibility. So Wednesday class at 6:30, and we don't know which room or where we are going to have it. So we should look, inshallah.
And
What
Saturday-
else?
Saturday reminder.
Saturday, for next Saturday, the class will be in Woodhaven, right? Because Ramadan, it's not Ramadan, sorry, because summer break, will have started by then, by Saturday, and the building will be completely closed during weekends. So, Woodhaven, inshallah.
This week, Saturday, you talking about?
No,
Woodhaven where? Queens is Woodhaven?
no. Do you receive the emails from us?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I don't think I have, or else I
So-
don't know how to.
Okay. Oh,
so get the
sure.
email, give your email address, and
I did give it to you, right?
Yeah, I did add
You
you.
did send
Yeah.
it? Did you send it?
I added you on the mailing
Oh,
list.
okay, yeah.
Maybe
So-
it's in your promotions folder.
Okay.
There we go.